Welcome to Agora Assurance Solutions, a place where leaders are forged and excellence is a standard. I'm Sean Fogelson, and I'm here to give you a brief overview of what sets us apart. Today, I want to walk you through some unique opportunities here at Agora and explain why our approach stands out in the industry. As you listen, consider these core principles that guide our business and the market trends that are shaping our field. These are essential facts that will help you understand the growing market and why Agora Assurance Solutions is positioned for long term success. Now, there's an aging population of every day 10,000 Americans turn the age of 65, a trend set to continue for the next 2 decades. This creates an ongoing demand for retirement planning and protection solutions. Now, in 2023, total U.S. annuity sales reached a record $385 billion, driven largely by a 23% increase from a prior year, according to LIMRA. So, these are some big numbers, you guys. Now, the life accidental health insurance industry reported 1.2 trillion with a T. I was about to say billion indirect written premiums in deposits in 2023. So that's a very staggering number. We're just trying to get a small piece, right? There is a historic wealth transfer taking place. We're all witnessing the largest transfer of wealth in history as baby boomers are passing on and trillions of dollars to the younger generations. Life insurance plays a central role in estate planning and tax efficient wealth transfers. Now, insurance is a little different these days. There are modern benefits. Today's life insurance policies just offer more than just a death benefit. You pass away, they get the money. No, there's things called living benefits. These are, access to cash value and also chronic illness riders and accelerated death benefits, providing flexibility and added security. So, a product that, not only takes care of you while you pass away, something that takes care of you while you live. And we also focus in on retirement solutions. These are products such as index universal life and fixed index annuities. These are essential parts of the comprehensive retirement strategies that we focus in on, which are combining protection with growth potential for our clients. These clients get to see all the upside potential with no downside risk. And, these are investment vehicles that individuals with 401ks, high earners, executives, and a lot of celebrity status, have these particular products within their tool belt. Industry sources and financial advisors frequently cite that only about 30 to 40% of mortgage protection holders, owners, have some form of mortgage protection insurance. That's implying roughly about 60 to 70% of all the homeowners in the nation do not have any insurance. So, a lot of our agents like to work within the mortgage protection industry and like that particular client. Now, 33 to 42% of Americans believe that are underinsured or need more coverage. Now, the Gen Z generation shows the highest percentage, 49% of individuals who say they need more coverage compared to only 27% among the baby boomers. And just this information that we're providing is just so you have a better understanding of the industry, and when we start getting down to the numbers, how this all makes sense. But let's get into our company mission and our vision. But we were founded in 2024 by insurance professionals with decades of experience. Guys have already built very large companies. Our core philosophy is rooted in forming genuine partnerships with agents and agency leaders. We provide state of the art tools, ongoing leadership development, and unparalleled agent support to ensure every partner has the resources and guidance needed to thrive. By integrating some of our advanced AI systems, we streamline processes, enhance transparency, and deliver tailored solutions meeting the evolving needs for both clients and agents. One of our primary focuses is leadership, development, and mentorship. We want to invest in you. So we have personal one-on-one trainings. We have obviously a team gatherings and boot camps and workshops. So we want to honestly put our time and invest in you and make you the best version of you within this industry. Some cool things that we have is Agora IQ. It's a proprietary technology platform for our agent success, and ultimately it's there where you get to access. You can basically ask it underwriting questions based upon all your products, and this system's going to tell you what product's going to be the best for your client. This is for new agents, even experienced agents, maybe to speed up their process, but we're always working on cutting edge technology and have a lot of other cool little things that we can speak to you within the interview about. Innovative lead generation and management. And this is one of the things that I believe that really do separate us within the industry, because the industry has changed. COVID put this industry and a lot of other industries in the ability to where you can work from your home. People were more susceptible about talking over the phone and doing business because COVID kind of set that era. So with this, that we are constantly developing our lead platforms for our agents so they can always make sure they're staying in front of clients that are wanting their services. And so I think that's probably one of the most vital things about being successful in this business is just being able to stay in front of clients, prospects. It's an exclusive lead. No one else has it. And I think that's what really helps us, put us in a different, class, among a lot of the other, competitors. Competitive ongoing training and onboarding. We're constantly, it kind of goes back to mentorship. I mean, we're investing in you. We want to see your business, your story grow and flourish into the best version with you within this industry. We're about partnerships, with our agents and agency leaders, and that's just, we're going to give you the tools, we're going to give you all the resources, and try to guide you to whatever you're envisioning for yourself, and giving you basically a play by play of how to get there. So, and I would say that probably one of the last things that I just wanted to kind of show is our Agora Active Agency. We have a lot of other really cool stuff, but just stuff I could fit on this page. There's a lot more stuff here, but Agora Active Agency is basically a central hub. It's you log into your site. It has got all of your business, all your carriers, they're back in, so you can see real time, look of all your pending business, you're issued, you're paid, and it actually, has a little bank account that sums up all your carriers, giving you a total amount of what you've earned for the month. And I mean, you really get a snapshot overview of your whole business, and you have all your portal links, you have all access to all your training videos, all at one location. And I think that's one thing that is really nice when it comes to, as an agency leader, you can not only track your own personal pen, but you can also track all your agents' business. Let's talk about some of our core products. One of our core products is Living Benefits. This is a product that doesn't just take care of you when you pass away and give your family a tax-free death benefit paycheck, but it also takes care of you if you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer, and other critical illnesses. Final expense is, dealing with taking care of, usually clients from 50 to 85 years old, cremation, traditional burial expenses, leaving a little bit of money behind for their loved ones. And we're dealing with term and universal life insurance, also mortgage protection. The other last two are disability insurance and also annuities. So we're going to get all into that. If you have any questions, you can schedule that in our interview or with your manager. Now, this is what our clients look like. This is mortgage protection. This is a family, of two children, husband, wife. Husband in this particular example could be the breadwinner. Uh, if his wife stays home, she homeschools the children, and if something happened to him and his income, not only that, she would have to figure out means to, come up with all the money for the bills, but more than likely she won't be able to take care of the house and everything else. And she'll lose the home and lose the roof over, the children's head. And this is why, mortgage protection is so important for our families and our loved ones because, at the end of the day, we just don't know when, it's our time. Now, we also focus in on final expense. Our clients are 50 to 85 years of age. This is to help assist, cover, their cremation, their burial expenses. A burial can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. A traditional one these days. So everything costs more. Inflation is always rising, and a product that all of our seniors need to have. Living benefits, we've discussed this prior, but, this could be, for example, a gentleman had a stroke, heart attack, feared for his life. He's thanking his doctor, but he also has living benefits because he's probably going to be out of work for a little while. And in the meantime, because maybe he's a contractor, maybe he, is a 1099, doesn't get offered insurance, that his living benefits is going to pick up. It's going to pay up to 90% of his death benefit, where, that could cover any medical bills, time off, obviously his immediate bills, when it comes to, living and etc. So just a really great product to have within your tool belt as an agent, but, just really securing and protecting our families, not just because if they pass away and die, we have products that help out, their investments, their money and everything else, such as fixed index annuities. And these are great investment vehicles for families that want to grow their money tax deferred, and they understand the power of the compound interest. This is a product that gives you all the upside potential where it's tied to the stock market, and if the stock market's booming, you can get a great return of 6, 7, 8%. Some are locked in at 4%. Just depends on the actual product itself. But these are what a lot of individuals really set up their future retirements through, because they're more safe than any 401k or Roth IRA that the stock market could crash and they could lose 30-40% of their hard-earned money worked over the years, compared to with this particular product, you never lose your principal. So if you actually put $100,000 of money in that product, that that was the principal, you would never lose that $100,000. And I think that's why so many people are moving their 401k, Roth IRA, a 403b tax plan over to these products, because there's just such an advantage without even receiving a penalty of making the transfer. Disability insurance, you obviously could get hurt while you're at your job. Something takes place, you broke a leg, whatever it may be. And this particular, product is going to pick up also, help you draw and pay your bills in the meantime as you get healed up so you can get back to work. And in some cases, in your job, if you get hurt, you can't go to work. Sometimes you don't have a job. Now, how do we develop our leads? And I believe this is one thing that really puts us, at the top of the game of, being a competitor within this industry is, the model that we have and the leads that we, develop for our agents. And how do we do this? We create a video based upon if it's for mortgage protection or final expense, whatever we're developing for. And could be a husband that, maybe passed away and now the wife has children. She doesn't have a job and she doesn't know how she's going to make the bills. And these people, literally engage in those videos. But once we've created that video, we end up sending it to our marketing team, and they create an online ad, which is, as I stated, the video is based upon what that that agent requested, and all these leads are exclusive. Is that they end up creating this ad, whether it's 50 to 85 or 20 to 60 years old, whatever we're targeting. And once we create that ad, that targeted audience, then what we do is we send it out through social media. It's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Meta, every platform out there now. Thousands and thousands of people that are within that, that target audience for that lead are coming across this video. Now, out of 1,000 people that actually get to see this video, is that 980 of them will not even respond because they're not interested. So what an awesome thing, because what we're doing is that we're weeding out all the people that are not interested in your services. Now, that's roughly around 98%. Now, out of the 2%, which is around 20 people, they decide that this is something their family needs. They go ahead and take the time to put out their first name, their last name, their date of birth, their street address, and how much coverage they're looking for. And once they take the time to fill that out, which is basically a digital form, that form ends up retrieving and it gets sent right back to our system. And once our system receives it, it redirects it straight to our agent's CRM system. And once the agency receives it in their CRM system, a lot of times, depending on the lead that they purchase, is that lead will actually send them a text notification right when the client filled out the information. Barbara Jones, was looking for $200,000 of coverage, and it notifies you. Now you're accessing it within your dashboard or your CRM system. And now our agents at that point, they will go ahead and call or text the client if they don't answer to go ahead and schedule an appointment. Sometimes they do the presentation on the spot. Now, we do have other live transfer leads that kind of skip this process, where once the client actually calls in from the lead, it will redirect from our VoIP system, and redirect straight to your dashboard, and you will be able to speak to the client right over your computer or your phone if you have it pulled up that way. All right, so we're going to get in some compensation examples, but before we do that, we're just going to cover some basic industry terms that I think we all need to know. So, annual premium volume, that's APV. That is monthly premium times 12 months. That is what the insurance company is going to pay you when you sell one of their applications. Our company averages at $88.23 a month when it comes to mortgage protection and term products, yielding at $1,058.76 AP. And when you hear somebody say AP, that's annual premium. That's the monthly payments times 12, giving you the annual premium. All right, the next thing you need to know about is commission percentage. Our brand new licensed agents start at 80%. Within our organization, you can actually earn up to 130% commission levels, which in that position, your role title is a division executive. Your commission advance with your carriers is 75%. All that means is that you're getting paid that annual premium. But what they do is they pay the first direct deposit after the policy's been issued, placed. And once they've done that, what they do is based upon, if you sold $100 commission, you would take your commission level and times that $100 times 12 months, which in this case, they're going to advance 9 months, and then they're going to send that money to you. So if you were at 100% commission level, you sold $100 premium, you would get paid $900. Now, what's really cool is that, you get paid for the full year. So that what about that other 25% of that money that, is supposed to be paid on the year? Once your client goes ahead and pays the 10th, 11th, and 12th month, you actually start receiving all that money in the back end. And when I go ahead and show you these examples here, just moving here in a second, covering the part-time, the full-time, If you wanted to be in, an agency that did $50,000 in production per month, and also an agency that did over $200,000, what kind of money they would make just on the front end? Because once you've made it in this business for a year, now you're collecting all this back end money that you're just waking up. You have, deposits in your bank account that you forgot about, and now you're, receiving renewals on policies that you've already sold. So this is when the business gets really exciting, and the growth potential, and why more multimillionaires are created within this industry than any other industry out there. All right, another term that you need to know about is your issue rate. The industry average is around 80%. So that means that if you sold, give you an example, 10 applications to 10 clients, that only 8 applications would get approved, whether they were approved by the underwriting or maybe a client didn't make their premium. Now, I got a little excited a second ago, but I was talking about the renewals. But these are certain products that you're selling. Some life insurance policies actually continue to pay. So not only after your first year, they will pay for 2 years, up to 10 years in some case, the entire life of the policy, as long as the insured proposed is making their payments, you're receiving money. And that's just a really cool thing. And I guess probably one of the most exciting things within this industry is not only you can make money from writing your own business from your own pen, is that you can make overrides. This is when you start duplicating yourself. You've learned this business. You start training and prospecting agents. If you're a great trainer, we're even an organization that will actually help recruit to your business. If you can actually manage and foster these people and teach them what we've taught you, we would love to help you grow your agency. All right, we went over these basic terms, so now we can kind of get into these compensation examples, and see what a full time a part time earner looks like, how much money they can make. A full time earner, what a regional manager at 110% commission, has a $50,000 team net place production each month. And our highest level position, which is our division executive at 130% commission. And those individuals have a team that are doing over $200,000 in net place production each and every month. So what's a part-time earner look like? Well, on average, they're writing around 2 applications each week. Now, we went over the basic terms of the APV, and our average APV is roughly around $1,058 for mortgage protection. So if she sold 2 applications, that will come out to $2,117 APV. 80% issue rate comes out to $1,694.01. Now, with her commission level, which is really 80%, that's how that's factored, $1,694, 80% commission is $1,355. With a 9-month advancement, it comes out to $1,016. And the way I've structured this, this agent spent $246. You end up minusing that off the total premiums that she's been paid. Comes out to a net $770.40 per week. Not bad for only working a couple hours a day, 1 to 2 days, of producing that money, right? All right, so what does that look like for the year? What did this part-time agent working a couple hours a day, a couple days a week? What kind of money did she make? Well, at $770.40 a week, working roughly around 50 weeks out of the year, a couple weeks, vacation, holidays, whatever, 50 weeks out of the year, comes out to roughly around $38,520. That took a second for it to pop up, but that's a pretty good amount of money, just doing this part-time from her full-time job, or maybe she's a stay-home mom just making some extra money on the side based around her hours and her availability. So let's look what a full-time earner can be making. I mean, at this point, they've been working for, quite a few months, and they've earned themselves up to a 95% commission level. They're working 5 days a week, roughly around 5-6 hours a day. This agent, what they're going to be looking at, producing is they're going to be looking at producing roughly around 5 applications a week. That could be two on one day. Sometimes you can sell three, four apps on one day. So on an average throughout the week, that individual will be doing roughly around five applications. So five applications. So 5,293 APV at an 80% issue rate is $4,235. At a 95% commission rate, that comes out to $4,023. With the 9-month advancement, he would get paid $3,017.46. Factoring in his lead cost that week, $375, he made $2,642.46 that week. Not too bad. So let's just factor that in the year, what this full-time agent made, with him making roughly around $2,642 a week of net money made. 50 weeks out of the year, vacation time, spending time with family, holidays, $132,000 per year. Now, as I discussed prior, we're not even talking about the 10th, 11th, and 12th month. We are only discussing the 9-month advancement at this particular number. So, the opportunity is grand. This isn't for everybody, but, if you believe in yourself and you're a hard worker and you want to develop your skills, there's a huge opportunity within this industry to capitalize the opportunity when it comes to the market, the people, the money, and all that and above. So let's go ahead and hop into discussing the regional manager position and what kind of money you can make, developing a $50,000 team. Well, first, you're still writing business, and this particular agency manager is still writing 5 applications just as the full-time agent was. The only difference is now they have 5 agents doing only just 2 applications a week. These are just basically part-timers that she has working for her, So, at that point, your standard APV, $5,293. She has 110% commission level, which gives her $5,823. With her 9-month advancement and also the 80% issue rate that she would be receiving, her net money minus her leads would come out to $3,043.90 a week. Not bad from her just building a team and her just writing, and that's only the money on her front end. This is her personal pen that she made for the week. So now let's go ahead and add in her agents that she had working for her. She had 10 applications, which ends up averaging around $10,587 in annual premium. 80% issue rate brings it down to $8,470. With her average override of 25% commission level, she's making $2,117. Once she factors in her 9-month advancement rate, it comes down to $1,694.01. Once you factor in her lead costs, she didn't have to pay for any leads for these agents. So her net weekly overrides was $1,694 for the week on the agents that she helped train and develop that are working part-time. Now, what's that look like for a regional manager, for her yearly income? Well, at $3,043 a week on her own pen, $1,694, on overrides, 50 weeks out of the year, that is $236,000 and $895 a year. That's a good living. You can make a lot of money in this industry, and there's a lot of people who make a whole lot more. So let's just say that you're a hard worker, you're a grinder, you really love developing people, and you're able to use Agora's platform, with all the tools and resources so you can market your company, your agency, and train them. Well, this is what a $200,000 monthly net place premium team looks like. So he's still a full-time agent. He's writing 5 apps a week. He's still producing the standard 5,293 APV as we discussed. We're just showing in this example, which this can be much different, but in this case, let's just say he had 20 agents that were part-timers. It could be he has 2 or 3 full timers with quite a few less part timers, but it all just for these example purposes, this is 20 part time agents. He's got his 130% commission level. With his 9-month advancement minus his lead costs, he is making around $3,679 a week just on his own pen. Doing it each and every week like he's always done. He's built a book of business. He's got clients that he helps service each and every day. But now let's factor in his agents that are writing business with 40 applications a week. $42,000 in production. Which comes out to an 80% issue rate, is $33,880. With his average commission override at 30%, he has some agents that have, rise within his organization. He also has some brand new agents. So in this particular case, in this example, most of his agents are at 100% commission level that they've, worked their way up to. And at that point, once you factor in the $10,164 in his override, his 9-month advancements factored in, which is $7,623.07. And as we showed before, there's no lead cost because all of his agents are investing in their own business. So he made $7,623.07 just that week. Let's go ahead and crunch these numbers and just kind of see what these final numbers look like. Off his personal pen and his overrides that he was doing each and every week, 50 weeks out of the year, comes to a grand total of $565,111. Now, you can make a whole lot more money than this, you guys. But this is just giving you an example. We also didn't show any of the back end from his own personal pen or any of the back end from his agent override. So this number that I'm showing you, it would actually be more. But a lot of exciting things here. And, I hope that, if you're still watching this video or, your manager sent this over to you, that, you kind of get more of an insight if this is something that you maybe want to get your license, or maybe you're with another organization and, the leads that you're working with, or maybe they don't have any leads at all. You're looking for a change and you want to grow with somebody that, wants to grow with you, that wants a partnership. So, let's hop into this next little section and we're about to finish this thing up. That being said, being a producer or a agency builder, there's obviously a lot of incentives in this industry. It seems like the more money you make, the more stuff you get for free. But the thing is that, every carrier, has certain trips and getaways. One of our carriers is, covering, Munich, Germany. There's a Los Cabos trip. There's a lot of other, tropical destinations that we get to go to each and every year. But we also have a lot of great conventions that we like to, run, across the country each and every year. Now, what's next, you guys? You ready to take the next steps? Go to our website. You can go to Agora Assurance Solutions. You can go to Agora Advisor Solutions after that, and then click Apply Now. You can find your manager who referred you listed within that prompt. It takes about 3-4 minutes to fill out. If you're ready to go ahead and schedule your interview, if you receive this within a text message, go ahead and respond done, and we'll go ahead and get that interview set up so we can take the next steps of seeing if this is something you want to pursue for your career. Thank you for watching this video, and talk to you guys soon.